Lumabas din ang katotohanan na hindi ganun ka-close ang Wolfpack ni Coach Tom Thibodeau. Yan ay matapos mag-request ang all-star guard na si Jimmy Butler na i-trade na siya ng Minnesota Timberwolves. Hindi pa malinaw kung gustong umalis ni Butler sa Minnesota, pero may usap-usapan na hindi sila magkasundo ng young stars ng kupunan at gusto ni Butler na maglaro para sa isang big market team. Ngayon ang tanong, anyari sa T-Wolves? Tanungin natin ang ating NBA Philippines Managing Editor, Adrian Dy. Adrian, it's great to have you back.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah! Hirit nga ng kapatid ni Andrew Wiggins na si Nick Wiggins, pero yun nga ang sagot ni Jimmy Butler. How did this start, Adrian? I mean, it looked like a homecoming for Jimmy Butler, reuniting with the coach that really gave him that opportunity to shine in the NBA, Coach Tom Thibodeau, when he was with Jimmy Butler and the Bulls. He goes to Minnesota, teaming up with these young guns. What happened? Why is everything falling apart?
Kala natin match made in heaven, diba? When they landed him last season, a lot of people thought na siya yung missing piece to get the Timberwolves back into the playoffs. And that's exactly what happened. Pero supposedly behind the scenes, there was a lot of talk about how parang they wanted to get Butler to motivate Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. And instead of motivating them, parang mas grumabe yung rift between the veterans and the young guns. And so, it looks like Butler kind of realized na parang, okay, hindi sila nakikinig sa akin. I might as well go some other place to get my money and to play in a big market.
Who do you think is at fault here? Is it Butler for giving up on the young guys? Or is it the fault naman of sina Karl Anthony Towns or Andrew Wiggins for not trying to listen more to a guy who has more experience?
That's a good question because we don't really know. Hindi man natin alam exactly kung tamad ba yung mga young guns
kasi
or
yung sinasabi.
Grabe ba talaga maging taskmaster si Butler? What we do know is that before, when in his last season with the Chicago Bulls, may faction din eh. It was Butler and Dwayne Wade, and then on the other side you had Rondo and the young guns. So parang it seems as if na Butler is not the kind of player who can really sort of be the mentor to young players. Parang I think he wants to win. He came into a winning Chicago Bulls organization, and then so when you go to a situation wherein you're rebuilding, obviously for some superstars, that's kind of difficult. So if that's the situation, you can sort of understand kung bakit yun yung the three teams he mentioned in the reports are the teams he wants to be traded to be.
In every NBA team, usually, for it to become successful, there has to be a player who's a clear-cut superstar. And in the Timberwolves, when you had Karl Anthony Towns, when you had Wiggins, when you had Butler, you didn't know kung sino ba talaga yung main man doon. Do you think that was also a problem?
I think so, kasi, you know, you look at Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns again, 23 years old, 22 years old. These are guys na, you know, they're still very far from the prime of their NBA careers. Whereas on the other hand, you have Butler, who's 29 years old. He's probably looking for one last big contract before he starts, you know, playing on veterans minimums. And you can sort of see that siguro their priorities are different, and you can't really blame either side.
And speaking of priorities, I think Thibs also has a master plan, wanting to continue what he started in Chicago, bringing back all of his guys.
The Timberwolves.
Timberwolves. I mean, started with Butler, D-Rose, maybe Joakim Noah is on the way after the Knicks waive him. So what happens now that Butler wants to be traded to a different team?
Well, right now, I'm sure if you're Coach Thibodeau, if you're team president Thibodeau, you don't want to trade Butler because he's your best player. When Butler missed 23 games last season, they went something like 10 and 13. So they clearly need a guy of his caliber to sort of be the go-to person in the clutch, because right now Towns and Wiggins are not that. But at the same time, yung situation sa kontrata niya is he can opt out of his deal at the end of the season. And if you're the Timberwolves, you traded several first-round picks to get him. And if you lose him for nothing, that doesn't say very highly of you as a team executive. And so medyo you want to trade him to get pieces back, but if you trade him too early, alam ng ibang teams na you're trying to get rid of him, and so they won't give you back as great assets as you might normally get. So there's that tension there.
Now, Butler is also saying that he wants to go to a big market team. Maybe the LA Clippers, maybe the New York Knicks. We heard about Kyrie being a target of the Knicks, possibly next season. Where do you think is the best place for Butler in case he does leave Minnesota?
Well, the thing with those three teams that he mentioned, so that's the Clippers, the Nets, and the New York Knicks, all of them
I forgot about the Nets.
So let's not forget about them. Kawawa naman sila. Pero what's interesting about those three teams is that they all have young guys. So let's bring it back to our conversation kanina na he doesn't really like playing with young guys. And so is the expectation na, if they trade for me, dapat they give up their young talent to get me. Baka ganun yung iniisip niya. But of course, if you're the teams, like if you're the Knicks, why would I give up Porzingis to get you? If you're the Clippers, why would I give up my young guys that I just drafted in order to get Jimmy Butler when I can always sign you in free agency? So there's that tension nga. The Bulls have, the Timberwolves have this sort of dynamic that they have to sort of weave through. Butler has that all sort of thing that there's a give and take in the situation. So I don't think this will get resolved anytime soon.
What do you think is the ceiling of players like Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins? Do you think that they can push this team further in the playoffs? Let's say kung mawala nga si Jimmy Butler, or do they take a step back if he leaves?
Well, it depends on how they still perceive Coach Thibodeau, because Thibodeau, as we know, is a defensive-first coach, but it seems like his principles have not really been embraced by Cat and by Wiggins. So, if, let's say, Thibodeau loses and this struggle of power and he's forced to trade away Butler, that puts him in a precarious situation. The owner might say, you lost this guy that we traded all these assets for, we should fire you also. And so, somebody like Towns or Wiggins, if they really don't like Coach Thibodeau, they may decide to take things easy and see that he gets fired. Yeah, but it's also possible that this fires them up and say, now that I have the team back under my sole control, I'm going to show everyone what they can do. And so we don't really know which way they're going to lean towards.
All right, going back to the tension, I have to ask you, Adrian, why did the brother of Andrew Wiggins, Nick Wiggins, stick his nose in this feud between Butler and Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns? Bakit pa siya nakisawsaw dito?
Well, I mean, you know how it is when you're in the orbit of these famous people, and sometimes, you sort of feel a little more empowered than you normally would be. All I'm going to say is, if you're going to pick a fight with a former NBA player, I would not pick a fight with Stephen Jackson. That guy is tough. We've seen it in the Malice at the Palace. I don't want to face him.
I don't even know why he got involved.
I mean, that's how it is now. But let's see. I'd rather, as Stephen Jackson said nga, I'm on TV more than you.
Wow. So. Oh, man. Well, a lot of things to discuss. Adrian, as always, nakakabitin yung mga usapan natin sa NBA. But we've got a lot more to talk about dahil palapit na ang NBA season.
Training camp opens next week for the teams, and so we will see nga if Butler will be there in Minnesota or not.
Very juicy. All right, our managing editor for NBA.com Philippines, Adrian Dy, on the score. Thank you so much, Adrian. I'll see you again soon. Hey everybody, this is Anton Rojas. Subscribe to the ABS-CBN Sports and Action YouTube channel by simply clicking on the bell button for more updates.